Hi, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do some scheduled maintenance on this Generac Guardian series 11 kilowatt standby generator behind me. We're going to do an oil change and inspection, check the battery out on it, just the things you would normally do to keep it in good working order as suggested by the owner's manual here. I suggest you thoroughly read your owner's manual here. It'll tell you everything you need to know about keeping this thing up, so that I can provide you a good long many years of trouble-free service here. According to the manual here, the yearly maintenance would be to inspect the battery, check it all out, make sure it's good yet. I'll show you how to do that first. And then every other year or 200 hours, so every 2 years or 200 hours, you want to change the oil, change the air filter, check the spark plugs, and all that stuff. Now, I just do that every year. I don't wait till every other year. It's good maintenance, it's cheap, easy to do, and these things are a pretty significant investment, so I don't see why not, if it's not that expensive, to just do it every year and give it a good long lifespan. So first of all, let's start off, and what we want to do first is, well, first we'll check the battery, then we're going to warm it up so that when we change the oil it drains nice and good, and then we'll start on the rest of it. So what we want to do is open this top lid here, and then I'm going to lift up on this front cover and pull it out. That'll give us access to everything inside here that we need to work on. Battery compartment is right down in here. This is a relatively new battery, so what you want to do is just check your post for corrosion, make sure your connections aren't loose. Clean the battery up, check for any acid leaks or anything, and then you can pull out a tester and test the charge on it. But easy way to do it, just come here to the menu, we'll hit the escape button, system is flashing, we'll just scroll till we get here to battery, and then we'll hit enter. Battery condition is good. These things are pretty good about reading the battery, so we'll just hit escape there. And then what we want to do is start this thing up to warm it up. So just hit that button. I'd already pre-warmed this up, ran it for about 15 minutes. When you're done, hit the off button. Now Generac recommends anytime you're working on it, you pull this fuse here. That's a Generac recommendation. And then we're going to come over to the side of the generator, and we're going to flip this breaker off. There. Now the generator is off and we can work on it. Okay, you're going to need a little drain pan. What you want to do is take this orange cap off of here. This is your drain tube. Pull it out of the little keeper here and let her drain down into your drain here. We're just going to set something heavy on it to keep it there. There we go. That's going to take a while to drain. These drain pretty slow. I'm just going to loosen up the fill cap here so it can breathe a little bit, drain a little faster. Alright, that's going to take a while to drain. So while that's draining, we're going to move on to something else. Now I forgot to mention, you can order a service kit here right from Generac, or you can find them online. I'll put a link in the description below this video to one of these service kits. It'll give you everything you need to service your generator for about $20 or so. You're going to get a new oil filter, some instructions, there's a little cloth in here for cleaning up, little paper funnel, there's a sticker in here you can write your hours on and everything. When we're done, we're going to stick that right to the generator here. New spark plugs and an air filter. So we're going to do the air filter next. Okay, right in this housing here, you have your air filter. Just release these two clips. And then lift up and push backwards. It's just going to come right off of there. Here's the old air filter. She's still pretty clean, but still a good thing to do this maintenance. Take a paper towel and just clean in here a little bit. There's a couple dead bugs in here. Look up in here for any debris. There shouldn't be anything up in here. This just comes right off if you need to. You can clean it. Just wipe everything off good. Then we'll take our new air filter, slap it on there like that. Put this thing back on there. If you can see, there's two slits back here. There's just two tabs. We need to line it up with those two tabs. There, it sits on there just like that. Put our clips back on. All right, I see that our oil is done draining. So let's just pull that out of there. I'm going to tuck it back up in the holder right here. Take this orange cap, put it back on. All right, changing this oil filter can get a little bit messy. So I just packed some paper towel down here because there's not just quite enough room to get any kind of a pan in there. Then all you're going to need is some kind of a filter wrench. You can use a filter wrench like this or a strap wrench, whatever you have. Or if you got a good strong grip, you can probably get this off by hand. No, I don't quite have the right size, so I'm just going to strip her off by hand here. I'll get it off quick and flip it so I don't spill as much. I'll dump the oil here in there. Catch. Now, just judging by how much oil we got here in this little cut up milk jug I was using, I'm going to say probably a little under 2 quarts roughly, but when we add it back in, we'll just add some, measure, add some and measure. We'll take our new oil filter here. It's got a little plastic cap on it to keep dirt out. I'm going to dip my finger in the new oil here and just oil around this gasket here before we put it on. Wipe the filter base clean. You can't really prime this filter with fresh oil because it sits on its side, and when you tip it, all the oil is just going to run out anyway. So we'll get her started on here. Careful not to cross thread it. When you turn it, it should turn nice and smooth and free and easy. Okay, right to that point. Okay, now it made contact with the base, so we want to go 3/4 to 1 full turn to tighten it up. That's pretty tight. That's just a little bit under 1 full turn. Okay, I'm ready to add the oil in. Here's the fill hole right above where the oil filter sat. Pull that cap off. Make sure you use a clean funnel. This funnel looks a little dirty on the outside, but inside she's clean. I'm going to start by adding about 1 quart of oil. And check according to your manual here. Let me show you quick. Okay, here's the guide that tells you what kind of oil to use. Straight 30 weight covers this temperature range from about 32 degrees Fahrenheit up to 110 maybe. 10W30 is good from about -10 to about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. 5W30 will cover this model for any temperature range, synthetic 5W30. So that's what I'm using. And as far as what kind of oil I like to use, I really like to use AMSOIL. Otherwise, I also like Pennzoil. Platinum is also good. I mean, you can use whatever oil. You're free to use whatever kind of oil you want. That's just what I use. While I'm adding this, just talk a little bit about this generator here. If you're a homeowner, I can't recommend one of these enough, especially if you're the the type like me that travels a lot and your family's at home, it gives you a lot of peace of mind. And power outages, it'll keep everything going. I highly recommend these things. I've had this thing for 8 years. It's been trouble-free, but I do regular maintenance on it and take good care of it. I always come in here and clean everything up. That's, you know, before I'm done today, we're gonna go through all the wiring, make sure no mice have chewed on this wiring. Mice love this thing. I plugged the holes with steel wool, but they still seem to get in here because it's like, must be like a mouse hotel. Okay, so the oil's changed, the air filter's changed. The next thing to do is change the spark plugs. The kit comes with 2 spark plugs. That's what you need. This is a 2-cylinder unit. If you have a bigger one like a 20 kilowatt or a smaller one, smaller ones will be single cylinder sometimes. Just check your owner's manual, and it's going to tell you right in this section here about your spark plugs and what your gap should be set at. I'm going to show you how to set the gap here in a minute if you don't know how. Right here it says for 8, 11, and 20 kilowatt units, 0.76 millimeters, or 0.030 inch. It would be 30 thousandths. So, if you're not familiar with how to set the gap on a spark plug, what they're referring to is the gap right here by the electrode. You can use a little tool like this to set this gap. Okay? If you can see, little numbers on here. And you'll see over here is it's skinnier, and as it goes around here, it gets thicker. So we'll just say 0.03. It's right there. So what we want to do is slide this in the spark plug at this skinny part here and just gently move it along here. And we want it to meet resistance right at that 0.03 mark. So I already checked these. They were set pretty darn close right out of the box. So we'll slide it along here. Hard to do in the camera here. Right there is where it meets resistance. And that's right at that mark of where we want to be. Okay? Now if you need to adjust this, if you need to make the gap bigger, that's what this little hole in here is for. You put that in the electrode here and kind of pry it like a pop can or a bottle cap. You don't really want to pry on that little piece in there. But it doesn't take much, just real gentle. We'll spread that a little bit and then just check it again. Okay? Now if it's too far apart, if you need to make it tighter, you can just take this and press on the back side here. It takes a bit of pressure, firm pressure, to get it to go down a little bit, and then just recheck it. Make sure you're right where you want to be. So we're good with that. Now on your spark plugs, right here, you see this wire with the rubber boot? Just yank that off of that spark plug. You're going to need a spark plug socket here. This is a 13/16. Just an extension on a ratchet. And we'll push it down in there. Loosen them up, you can get them right out by hand. Spark plug will come right out. Now, if you've never seen a spark plug out of a LP or natural gas engine, you'll notice how clean that still is. You don't get the kind of sooty buildup you do from a gasoline engine. It's pretty neat. So we'll set that aside. Take our new spark plug. You can see down in here, that hole down in there, that's where the spark plug is going to go. Just trying to do this at a basic level here, assuming that you're just a homeowner who wants to service and take care of his own equipment and take good extra care of it without having to call a service man every time. So if you already know some of this, no worries. It's not a big deal. I'm not a service tech. I'm just a guy servicing his own equipment here. We'll spin that in there. Careful not to cross thread it. You'll feel it meet the resistance there. Just firm it up. You don't want to torque on it. There. And we're just going to take our electrode wire, You'll push it down in there and you'll hear it snap on. So that's the spark plug on this side of the motor. Now you're going to have one also on this model on the back side of the motor back here. Can't get the camera in there to show you how I do that, but it's going to be exactly the same as this one on the front. So I'm just going to change that one, and we're going to move on to the next step. You'll notice it'll give you an error code here for your fuse. Just pop this fuse back in. If you hit the enter button twice, it'll clear that code for you. Now if you look here, it says 60,002 hours. That's not the run time, that's the standby time. So you want to fill out your service sticker, your new service sticker, you can put the hours on it, the run time. So what you'll do, hit escape, using the down arrow, scroll to submenus, and then to maintenance. And right away that run hours will be flashing. Hit enter. I'm at 78.5 run hours. So that's what I'm going to write on my new sticker here. And I'm just going to put it right here. So I know when I serviced it, I'm going to know what I did. I'm going to put the run hours. I'm going to put the date. I'm going to put that I did a full service. I'm going to put my name, who did it. And then I'm going to set the valve lash on here on a separate video. So I'm going to write that on there too, that I did set the valve lash. We want to do that every, manual recommends every 400 hours. But we'll do a different video on that. So if I hit escape here, keep hitting it, go back to system, hit enter, it takes us right back to our main screen. I'm going to reach around here, turn this breaker back on. And what we want to do is fire this up and run it for about a minute, and then shut it off. Let the oil drain back down for a minute, and then check your oil level, because that filter will suck up a little bit of oil. You might need to add a little bit extra. So if you just follow the basic maintenance outlined in your owner's manual, these things will last a good long time. Like I said, I just do it every year. It's cheap. I'll put a link in the description below to that service kit. That is for this 11 kilowatt. If you're looking for one, just verify that it's for yours. Like if you have a 20 kilowatt, you may need a different service kit. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.